Welcome back. I've looked on my shelf and I have projects, but I decided I need to make myself paint some miniatures. I need to get these painted. Too much gray. And I've helped myself by putting all the gray on the shelf that you guys can't see, but it's back here that I've built. That way the gray is staring me in the face. The nameless Marines and orcs. I think I'm going to have LT help me with a lot of the orcs, so we'll see what we can do. See what we can do. Overcome my need to make them look better and let him paint them himself, you know? Because I'm not exactly a crack shot at painting myself either. Alright, this is one of the Deathwatch Overkill guys. The frag cannon guy, the Imperial Fist. Decided to paint him first because I figured, for the most part, he's not going to take a whole depth of colors base versus like this dude right here. He's going to be a little bit more involved. He's going to be, I'm looking here, I'm going to go see black. I'm going to have to go over this base a little bit. Some the airbrush missed some stuff. I try to base mine with the airbrush. Just easier. Get a light coverage on it. And I almost always, depending, basically from the armies that I do and the colors that I do them, almost always base in black. Even my yellow, and that's just how I do my yellow, my Imperial Fist. Now, a lot of people say, oh no, never do that. So you should probably follow them, because the way I do mine is a little bit differently these days. I like base them in black, and I airbrush the majority of the armor over in yellow. I know that's not going to cover it. Then I go over certain areas with a double coat of that yellow, but other areas I don't, because that black shows through and it creates dark spaces and kind of armor chips looking, and just a lot of my highlight and stuff from that black coat that shows through. So that's really how I do mine, but a lot of other people have way other better techniques, I think. I just ended up being the way that worked best for me. But I'm going to go back over this guy with some black. This is my handy dandy spinny thing. Used to be a, see these 4 holes in it, a plastic jewelry thing went up. You hang little earring cards on it from the store we owned at one time. But it broke and I salvaged this from it. I'm going to shake this up some. That's a little buttery. That's almost at the level I wanted at, but just a little watery. I think that's going to be good. Now usually what I do, this is Vallejo model color, so I do use mostly GW paints. I got a bunch around right here, but some of the Vallejo colors are like this, and I can get them sometimes when the other colors out. But what I like to do is use a little pipette, because I do use this size thin airbrush paint. It's layman's medium, and just get that. And the reason I use that is so that I can just use a couple drops. I don't have to get any, don't have to have an extra different brush or something, or get any get it mixed up or anything like that. And it all comes out of the pipette. I don't put my paints in there because they'll get clogged up in there and I might lose some paint, but the layman's medium, it's fine. Now you can just thin this down. Oh yeah, they say milk consistency for the airbrush, and I like just a little bit thicker than milk for when I'm doing like painting. I'm using this little oval brush because it's a little bit bigger than some of my other brushes, and I am just going over him like this with just I have to back this off. This brush is loaded. Probably what I just grabbed is enough to go all the way over everything that he's got on him, and get that, and still have the details. One of my original Marines, and he's named Crunk. He doesn't go by the standard naming conventions of my Crimson Axes and that Romanesque name or Greek name, because he was just, his details were so clogged. I was using the spray rattle can army painter, and I just kept going over and over and over trying to get him all yellow, and it just totally untalented, totally had no idea what I was doing back in that day. So yeah, that was fun. So I've toyed with stripping some of those older models, and now that I have better knowledge and skill set, just repainting them. But well, a couple things keep me from doing it, to be honest. One is just the sheer task that would be. It's a little bit daunting, to say the least, considering I'm staring at a wall of completely newly unpainted plastic right in front of me. And another reason is it's just, I don't know, when they're out in the field together and you're fighting with them and you look down at them, you can see the progress, the growth from what it was to what it is. And it's part of the history of this army. Maybe it's I don't know, this may be wishful thinking, but maybe it's a history that one day my children would appreciate, and maybe I'm long gone and they still have these things of dads around, and they can look back and see, you know, yeah, Dad used to suck at painting way back in the day. You know, maybe that's just wishful thinking that these will ever be around for that, but it'd be cool if they were. Okay, so that's nice there. Got him going. I think maybe since I have the blackout, I might just grab a few other minis and give them another, I missed a spot, another dose down like this. And then by that time, this light coat that I have on him should be pretty dry. And I can come back and we can start painting some other areas of him. Alright, that's what he looks like now. I didn't really go over the bolter much because the bolter's got a good first coat. Some areas here that not quite good. But a lot of that's going to go over silver. And usually, or gunmetal or whatever colors I go. And usually when I do metallic colors, I'll layer metallic colors because metallic colors seem to be more less opaque than the other paints, and they seem to take a different layering. Like if I'll do gold, I always put a silver under that gold so that it helps build up metallic layers and it gives it kind of an undershine. That's just the way I do things. Ooh, look at this, totally I missed it there. Alright guys, as soon as I use up some of this black on some of these other minis and this guy is dried and ready to go, I'll be right back in the next steps. See you in a second. Back, I have this guy. I wanted to show, if I can, let me see if I can figure the light correctly. If you can see how light that coat is, how much you can see. That's about the consistency of the paint if I just do it by brush. And airbrush, I can usually get this in a couple coats right here. So you can see right there. So it's just thin coats to keep the detail. This is of course airbrush and then one brush coat over it. But so if you don't have an airbrush, you can do this with a brush. Just takes a few more coats, keep the brush strokes the same direction. I'm not going to do that too much because I just cleaned this in alcohol. Probably take the paint off. So I'm going to set him down. Alright, now my man here, Usually, depending on the coverage areas, what I choose on my brushes. And I learned watching other people what they said, and it does make sense, and I do try to heed by it for the most part. I'm trying to find the right, there it is. Heed by it for the most part is to paint the model in the order that basically you would get dressed or it would get dressed. So skin would be first, and then any underclothing, and then outer clothing, and then accessories and such not. And for the most part it works. Some models you gotta kind of work around it. And when you pre-build them like I've done here, there's areas like here that are going to be hard to get to because of that. But really that I do that a lot because I play them in, unfortunately, in this form until I can get them painted. And so a lot of people do that too. But if you really want to get super high quality results, then you kind of have to look at the model like here. The bestest way to have painted him would be to assemble everything except his arms and backpack, paint that up, paint up the arms and the weapon and the backpack, and then assemble it there. And the areas where you can make contact with the glue, don't put paint there, because then all you're doing is painting paint or gluing paint to paint, and it's really much more likely to break. That joint's not going to be a good joint, and you can't at all if you use plastic glue. It won't glue at all, only super glue. So you just have to look at the model and figure that out. So this guy, I know I'm going to do his Imperial Fist pad in the yellow, and then the white for the fist here. Or is it the black? I think it's yellow, white, black. I'm not triply sure, but I use Crimson Axes. My quote-unquote Imperial Fist guys are Crimson Axes, so don't use the Imperial Fist thing. I'm going to look it up real quick so I make sure I get it right. Imperial Fists. Right here, boom. Let's see if this shows their symbol. Yep, yellow, white, then black. Okay. So if I'm careful and I can get the white in there, like that, and then just the yellow out there, then I can leave that black and black and be cool. Like I said, for him, Deathwatch, so armor's black. Might highlight it a little bit. Get in here, try to do these eye things. Frag cannon. Might just leave this black. Maybe put a few swipes of some metallic showing through, and then some red highlights on it, because the Deathwatch is basically, their weapons are red-ish, have the red in them, a lot of their weapons. And then I like doing bronzes and stuff for the ammo and that stuff, so I'll probably do bronzes and stuff in this area, and silver on this skull. The way I do the skulls is I do, where's it at? A shutty bone, and then I tone it down with like a wash over it. Just basic on the skulls. I don't go through these 3 or 4 step processes, because these are just basic miniatures. More than 2 or 3 colors, but just tabletop quality. I'm not a master painter. So looking at this guy, I think I want to start on some of these areas like this right here. This bolt gun, probably do this in a brown here. This combat knife looks like it's open, so I guess maybe the silver is the biggest one, the biggest color that's going to go on here. And since his armor is basically done kind of, right? So the next is going to be some kind of silver. So I need to choose. I've got, what do I got here? I got the natural steel that I use for from Vallejo model color. I like that. I do use that a bit. I've got some Rune Fang steel, but I don't think I got a lot of that. Not much in there left. That'd probably be a bad choice, because I want all the models in the army to be kind of close. I've got Lead Belcher here. It's got a bit of that. That's a new color that I've purchased recently. So let me see. Let me just put a little bit of this out. That is not shook up enough. That's just the internal color in there. And I guess I get up like really good. I can tell, just use this enough. There we go. That's gonna be a darker gray. And this one is gonna be, this one's gonna be that gray color there too. Grayish steel. See what kind of other steel-like colors I've got. A limited paint supply. I buy paint or so when I can. Replenish some old ones and get new ones, kind of deal. Bob. It's my old Nuln Oil that fell down. Got super glue all over it. I have a new one, the big pot. Got to use up the old one first though. Seraphim. My shades. Rhinox side. That's gonna get that out. Set that there. Now that I found it, so I don't have to search for it for the holder for the pistol there, holster. Alright, yeah, I think I'm just going to go with you mean mine with this one, because it seems to be better shook up, and this one is usually lighter, but I don't know if it's because it needs really more. I'm going to shake it up really good and see if I can get the color that it used to be. Yeah, it's still not going to do it, is it? Still going to be a darker silver than I really want. Yep, so we're going to go with this. Now, usually they tell you, do not paint straight from the pot. And that is a good idea. Usually how I do it when I'm painting from the pots is I get myself just a little bit of this layman's median here. Just put it on my palette, I guess. This is my artist palette. Not really one, but it is for me. And then I'll get another bigger brush that I don't plan on using right away, and I'll get me a nice chunk of paint, depending on how much I plan on using, and get that right out in there, and then set that off to the side. That way I can kind of mix them and get that off. Where's my cleaning up rag? And that way I can get the consistency I want. And just dip in the layman's median and then come over to the paint and kind of get what I want. A little bit more paint than that. There we go. And then a lot of the artists will show you take the paint and then you kind of roll the brush through it to a point, and then you get a nice point and you can do these details and stuff. So where I think I'm going to start with him is this shoulder pad, this Deathwatch shoulder pad. Gonna bring that silver out in it. Gotta be really careful on these edges of the shoulder pad, since I've got him assembled, that I don't get it on the black. But I mean, worst comes to worst, let's get this closer to me. Worst comes to worst, you just go over whatever you messed up with a bit of a black. You're fine. Not going to kill anyone. Besides this, I believe this elbow cuff thing is supposed to be silverish too. Usually their whole arm on this side is silver, isn't it? So we could kind of go much. I got the Codex over here just out of the way. Not on purpose, it's just where it happens to be sitting. So that's good. That can guide me through this process a little bit. It's good to have some reference too around when you're doing something. You can kind of look at it and say, okay, that's what it looks like. A lot of times I'll have that, but that's not the way I 100% go with it. Kind of say, okay, this is kind of how it's supposed to look, but I think maybe this would look nice or this would look better, and I kind of change things up a bit with it. Wow, these are going to be, with this Rune Fang, these are going to be really muted down, and I like that in a way. I like that it's not going to be super highlighted. I'm just lightly going over the text here, and I'll show you in a second. Just a second. That's got gold on that skull. I guess I'll bring that in later. See if I can get that to foci. Okay, it's hard to get the right angle. There we go. See, leave the black down in there, and then that pops those out better. So, and that's going to look nice, I think. I need to just dip here, and nope, that seems a little bit there it goes, a little bit thick there before. Don't want it too thick. You don't want that paint to just blob the details away. So sad when that happens and you're like, oh no, these beautiful details are gone. They're not gone forever though. You could get them back. You could pop those things back out, start all over. That would be the sad part. Okay, so I'm going to paint. Like I mentioned before, I am going to paint the silver all over the skull, the Inquisition or basically Deathwatch, but Inquisition-like icon on there, because when I go back over that with the bronze or the goldish color, that will help that to cover that area and help put a underlying shine to it. It'll help it stand out a lot more. And notice that was a little skull on there. It is. It needs to have a little gold pop there too, or bronzish. Looking at this arm, I'm gonna see here, and look. It does look like that whole arm is supposed to be silverish. So I guess that's what we're gonna do. Silver arm. Get it here. Get it on there. Just thought for a second, oh, look up at this, the viewfinder. Make sure you're staying in the field of vision. In frame. That's what it is. In frame. Yeah, it says Xenos here. Looking over here. Yeah, we're gonna paint all this silverish. Just go in here, grab some more of that, some of that, thin this stuff out, get it where we need it. And yeah, if you're probably noticing how very small this brush is I'm using. You can, if you got the skill and the physical ability, use a bigger brush and get these done a lot faster probably than I can. But I no longer have that choice. My hands do not work as well as they did when I was younger, and then many times I will drop what I'm holding because I think I'm holding it tight enough, but I'm not, and it's because I can't 100% judge that anymore, unfortunately. That's just a measure of some early onset arthritis from some activity when I was in the military. So yeah, it is what it is. Live with it. Learn to compensate for it. That's kind of cool. That is not as shiny as a lot of people's, and I like that it's not. I'm hoping this will show up on camera. So I've got the light going. Okay, if you can tell, can you see how the black is kind of coming through that silver? And it's creating a dingy, dirty effect to it almost. That's why I always am basing in black. Personally, that's why I do it. Because it saves me some heartache of trying to get that effect the way other people get it with different shading techniques and everything. It's just easier for me to get it that way. Now what I usually do is I go around the model and find all the places that this color is going to be. Well, what I usually do is try to do that. A lot of times I will miss something and end up having to pop open a paint can or get something else going, which is unfortunate when that happens, because usually what happens is, like, as you can tell all over this is there, even from when I did the black, there's always some paint left over and gets wasted. And paint that's been left over when I'm completely done, I'm kind of okay with. I'm like, just a part of my process, and that's how it goes. But when I have to redo that process because I've missed a spot, I'm like, oh no. Now that's truly a waste, because that could have been avoided. I hate when that happens. Also, this area back in here on his backpack, which again I admit would be easier to paint if I had not assembled him first. But I like to paint those little things in there, just get them a dab of silver or whatever color it is that happens to be the color that's going on. I like this guy. He's got rivets, so I'm going to try to really going to try to go in here and get some of this Get some dry paint right there. Get some of this, get this brush nice and tight, but nice and almost clean there. There's a little bit of brush here. Try to get that off. I don't know if that's hair from something else. There it goes. Get that out of there. But just tap these rivets all over his helmet. Just tap them. Get a little of the silver on there so that they pop out a little bit. It's a kind of a delicate balance of getting the right amount of paint on there. Not enough so where the color transfers, but not enough to where it kind of over blobs. And then it looks like you just threw some silver makeup on him, I guess, or something like that. I just want to tap them. There we go. Now I'm looking here. I believe I'm going to go with a bronze on this. I believe this panel, something else, bronze there. I think I'm going to go ahead and undercoat these bullets with this though. These shells or whatever these are. I guess they're shells. So, gonna paint these up. Get them painted right here. And there we go. Get that done. That way if I decide to leave them as is, then I haven't wasted this paint. But if I decide to overcoat them with something else, then they have that base under there, that metallic base that I can build up from. And get the sides here. There we go. Get in there. Get some paint. Oh, there we go. Shell, top of the shell here. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and get these little symbols that I plan on knocking later with different colors for the same reason, so that they have that metallic underbase. And actually for another reason too, because I notice them now, but further down the line when I'm doing stuff, maybe they don't pop out so much to me for some reason. This kind of gets them popped out. And if I do miss them, maybe I can go, well, you know, I did get some color on it, and that's okay. You know, I could be like, let's move on. Let's not crack open the bronze for the second time or whatever, if something like that goes down. Alright, we're going to do these shells coming out of here the same way, so that we can keep those consistent with each other. Although, I don't know if he would, I guess if he used him as just a regular frag cannon Deathwatch, then he could get that special ammunition. And if he painted the one in the backpack different than these, you could, you know, that's the way you could designate that, you know. Those are the other shells in there, the special shells. Yep, so that would be interesting. That would be an interesting way to designate those two on your model. Not something you have to do, but people always appreciate when you kind of include those details and things. You don't have to get these completely silver. You can let some of that black come through, because then when you go over it with the next color, that just ends up being a shade portion of what you got going on. Just ends up being just one more little shade. Notice here, that is good. Alright, so looking at him again, I feel like these guys should have that little, where is it, board thing, you know, these cool guys have a little board thing on there. That, I feel like they should, but they don't. I almost feel like these guys were something that GW put out, and then all of a sudden some of the things said, hey, why don't we just go with this Deathwatch theme? It seems popular, so people seem to like it. That probably isn't how it went, but it feels like that almost, doesn't it? Almost feels like that's how it went down. There's a turning on a pivot kind of thing or something. Maybe that something to do with Matt Ward coming back or something. Maybe he saw what was direction they were going, and he said, "Hey guys, well, why don't you just keep going in this direction? This is a good idea. Do this." Or maybe someone else in the company, or maybe they already planned this and they just didn't think about the small details didn't occur. They just had the models, got them out there, and then they're like, "Oh well, we should have done that." And I can relate because I do that a lot myself. So this is weird. Getting this all painted. Alright, so there we go. Give me a chance to do some other stuff with that. Make me up some more of this thinned out paint. Just goop some on there. And then goop some of this into it. It's kind of drying a little bit on me, so I'm gooping it a bit. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and I guess get this little cable here that goes along his wrist and forearm here. Seems like it's important. Maybe it's powering the weapon. What would that be powering? Go in there, you get this big power cable, goes to the backpack. That makes a little sense, you know, looking at it, but and that little power cable, that can only be like maybe a data cable. That's probably what that's supposed to be. I can see that because you'd be like, it would give you a whole lot of critical information you needed for a weapon like that. Ammo left in the ammo bin that's in it, barrel temperature, current selection of a round, and maybe transfer, you know, back and forth from the Space Marine 2, switching rounds and stuff. So that's probably what that is, some kind of data cable. It's a 41st millennium USB cable right here, buddy. Alright, now he's got a symbol on this knee, and I'm going to try to, I just think there's too much paint there. There we go. Felt like it's too much paint. If you feel like that, then just, you know, better to have less paint on your brush and it really not go on like you want, so that you can come back and kind of correct that a little, than to have too much paint on your brush and obliterate details that you are not happy about. Okay, he's got a little frag grenade on this side too, I see, just picking out from his belt, which once again would be immensely easier to see and paint if he wasn't assembled. Yes, I know. I hear it ringing in my ears across the ages of the internet. Looking at the skull now, I see there's a area here, a little, looks like a bolt or something penetrating the skull. It probably needs to be metallic. A little chunk of paint there, right here. See if I can hold. You gotta be careful while you hold it too. You don't want to hold it where you got some wet paint. Yeah, that's coming like that. Yep. There's this that definitely needs to be. Get some of this. Make some more paint over here. Just a dab. Looks like part of the scroll mechanism holding the scroll. So let's get some metallic on that. Then there's this other side. The Inquisition symbol. I think I'm going to go attempt to paint that red. This is some kind of eye thing. We're going to put down some silver so it pops out a little bit, but we're going to go back. That's going to be one of our, I guess, micro colors that I put on there. The red. I usually don't use a lot of red. May use more than I normally do. Deathwatch, since a lot of their weapons seem to have some red highlighty parts to them. So usually I use very, very, very small amounts of red. It's one of the last colors I do, even if that red goes in certain areas because I use so very little of it. I tend to do that in a different order. I do that in a amount order. If I'm going to use a lot of this color, then I'm going to do that color first before I do a color I have less to do of. I feel like this almost looks mechanical, this vertebrae. It really does. It doesn't look like human vertebrae. I was going to leave it and do it in the bone like human vertebrae, but it doesn't feel like that. It looks and feels like it needs to be in the metallic because they're squared off. They really are. So I am going to do that metallic. Oh, another thing I use the bone for, and so it's going to be a little bit of a differentiation, is any scroll work like this. I'll do the shitty bone, and then I'll null oil it down to make it look like parchment. It works pretty good in that capacity. Alright, so that's that. See a couple skulls on there, but we'll go over those with white, and somehow I've rubbed the black off of here by holding him. So I'm going to grab this black, cover up this silver, do a little Bob Ross there, and just cover that spot real quick. Alright guys, I'm going to clean up a little bit, let some of this dry, and be right back with the next steps. Alrighty, back. I've put a little Guyana gold here after I've shook the heck out of it for about 10 minutes. It's a new color. I haven't used it, but apparently it's in need of some shakedown. It was. Right here it's got a coppery appearance to it. So, not 100% sure if it's good, but the reason I chose this one to do a lot of these is because I think it's, what is it? Is this it? Yeah, the brass scorpion is the other color I like because it covers so quickly, so well. And I want to use the brass scorpion on this tassel area and some other stuff. So for this other stuff here that really needs the brass or copper or goldish, I'm going to go with this so that it can pop out. Okay, so there's too much paint there. So what I need to do is just take some paint off the brush, come back, take the paint off the mini, roll the brush again dry, kind of like a reverse dry brushing, taking a dry brush to get that paint off. And then now that I've got some of that there, I can actually transfer it over here onto this skull. It's just a light, and try to, right there where it's probably the problem. I probably grabbed that from somewhere other than where I had mixed in the layman's medium. So yep, there's, see, my hand's trying to move on me. It's the details that get me. I can't hold hand super still. Oh well. I do the best I can with that kind of stuff. Get some more of this in here. Just a little on there. Just, you can see it just takes a couple coats actually if you are light on it, because for some reason the metallics are just not as opaque. Most of the metallics, the brass scorpion is, so that's why I like it. It's a lot easier to cover things with a brass scorpion. So there's how that looks. Let me see if I can get that on and focused. So that's not so bad, is it? Not so bad. So there we go. Looks good. And Mini is, yeah, got black paint on me, but I didn't touch that spot again. Alright, now, oh yeah, these areas back here, see? Think about it, and then I'm like, oh, what am I doing? I'm trying to get an old, this is an old spot of layman's Mini in here. It's like, wow, it's like a plug of plastic on the top there. It's interesting. Yeah, I was trying to put my brush in there, and that was never going to work out for me there, was it? There we go. Need to get my finger on his head so I could steady him. Or steady me. One or the other. Steady me, steadying him. I think what I'm going to do here is I'm going to put this on this fist that's part of his combat knife as well. This whole thing's moving on me. And get that kind of, because I'm going to put that brown both there and on that, on the hand wrappings for the dagger and on the bolt gun parts here. See, this bolt gun is that would have been a good place to or bolt pistol would have been a good place to put some silver to make that stand out. Now I'm going to have to go somewhere else with that. Some other colors. But that's fine. That's fine. We'll think about that as we go along. Make each part stand out. Alright, we are going to just lightly go over this eagle with this gold. And then it's going to be more sparkly. It's got the silver underneath it. And there we go. Sparkled up. I like it. I like it. It's fun. This will probably be an area where I use red. There, that. Look at the servo skull. I want that. I don't know if this is going to work because I'm going to have to come back and paint him with the skull part, but I'm going to try to get this eye with this Inquisition eye and see if I can manage not to cover that up later on. And maybe a little bit there. Yeah, just dry dust on that lens. Cool. And that looks nice. I like it. Probably can go ahead in these tie down areas where it looks like there's maybe some kind of brooch or snap that ties this to the shoulder pad. Go ahead and cover those with this. And it's looking like that is going to take a couple coats to do that right. Because there's no silver under there. There we go. That was some thick paint. I still kept the details, so you gotta be careful. You can paint like straight out of the pot or from the regular paint, but you really do risk knocking out a lot of the stuff you love these models for, which is the small details in them. Not the best course of action. Trying to keep that silver out of there, but still use up that layman's medium, because it is not the cheapest choice for paint thinners. There's a lot of other options you can get to. Like one of the ones I used to use in my airbrush, and sometimes still do, is 1/3 90% ISP, isopropyl alcohol, to 2/3 water solution. One of these little bottles like this, and that works pretty good. You have to be very careful. You put too much of the ISP, and then it turns these acrylic paints into like rubbery strands will block up your airbrush faster than anything you've ever seen. I like that. I do like that. Yeah, he is not going to have a ton of stuff that needs done to him. I think I'm going to go with the next color, so I'll be right back with that. See you in a second. So I took a quick look at the codex and the pictures, and I noticed that there is way more red in these weapons than I was thinking. So I'm going to go and do red next, because it's going to prevent me from hitting put an area here, just move some of this paint over here. Whoa. You can see where the layman's median is, huh? That really got in there, didn't it? It's gonna prevent me from really being able to get to other areas if I don't knock it out first. I'm gonna leave. I see a lot of that silver. I'm gonna leave that black. I like it better black. So that is the choice I'm making. And you can do it in the colors that you feel are right or appropriate, and that is just fine. But I feel more like that the Space Marines for this would be more concerned about their equipment, and they would have it painted wherever they could to protect it from the elements and such not. They'd be less concerned about having exposed metal if they didn't have to. Make sure I'm grabbing from the right area here. I don't want to get... Feel like that's red, yeah. And come up behind here. This is going to be the hard part. Reaching up in here and getting some of this. And I'm using Vallejo's model color red. I had some choice, 3 or 4 choices of some reds here, but the Vallejo was the one that, at least for me, is got the best flow characteristics. Because I use so little of the other reds that they've seriously got to be shaken up and a whole lot of stuff just to get them back to normal all the time. But this red, even though I don't use it a whole lot more, I use it more than the other ones, but I don't use it a lot compared to other colors, it still maintains its consistency in the bottle, which is something I gotta say for nearly all the Vallejo colors that I use. They seem to hold up a little bit better than the GW paint sometimes, as far as in the bottle. I mean, you can always revive GW paint if it dries out a little bit. You can just use that layman's medium, put it in there, or even a little bit of water actually, I guess. But the layman's medium is the best thing they say to use for it. So, and since I have it and I use it for other things, I'd just use that. Just throw a couple drops in there and stir everything up with a stir stick and shake it good and bring it back to life. But didn't feel like taking the time to do that right now. So I decided with my decider to go ahead and just use this one because I like it. It works. And now I'll show you. I don't know if it shows up real good unless I can get it close on camera, so in a second I will show you, and hopefully you kind of see it. And I'll have to go over this one more time to kind of get the brush strokes out, but at this point you want to see it, and you kind of see kind of the effect that the why I prime and back black, another kind of this is what happens and why I do it for me kind of thing. Alright, so at least for some of these, if I was doing like white scars, I would not prime in black. I don't believe I would. I would prime in white and then move from there. Alright, I got other red to paint, but let's look at this one close. If you can see how the black's peeking through on a lot of that? It kind of takes that red and knocks it down a few notches, darkens it up, versus what it is on the palette here. It's really bright here, and here it's not so bright. And that is, I like that. I like the effect of that. So that is why I do that. Someone else might not like that, so don't do that. Don't paint, don't prime in the black, because this is what you'll get. I mean, you can get over it. You can come over this, like, I'd say probably if you did it 3 times over, you would start to get this original color to kind of represent more. See, here's like twice over, and when this dries, I can already tell, even though it's not dry, it's going to still have the black popping through, which for me is just fine. Works just the way was working as intended, what they say. So that is working as intended for me and how I like it. It just feels, and almost when you look on it, it almost is the effect of this is got the black base coat and then it's been painted over with this red, and it almost has that effect as if it's not like professionally painted, but this was done by the tech priest right before, you know, just redoing this for the 11 trillionth time since this weapon was made in the thousands of years it's been hanging around or whatever, and it's just, you know, going off over that paint again and bringing it back, and then maybe that was done a while ago and some of it's chipping back to the original colors that are under there. So yeah, that is the effect I get, and I like that effect. So now I'm looking at him, and I feel like we need to try and get, it's going to take some, I say, we just thin the brush paint. That's going to be less thin. Give me some of this out here. See if I can get, I want it to flow, but I don't want, I don't want too much on it for sure. I don't want too much, because I'm going to try to get into this eye right here with that red. There we go. And these visors, eyes are, there we go. There's one. I need this color, but I need that right amount on there. Twisting the brush, that fine tip, and going from the thin part to the thick part, just like that. I'm going to have to take my finger and get the paint off where it came outside the helmet, but that's fine. There we go. Clean this up a little bit over here though. There we go. And we can do some highlights on that if we want. I like that. He's come out nice so far. It's going to be very black. See this thing here on his chest, the laurel leaf and a fist there? I'm going to go with the bronze on that, and then we're going to go with that on the tassels as well. So I'm going to clean up this brush and move on to the next color. See you in just a second. Alright, I'm back. The next few colors, I've kind of thought about it. I think they're not going to be that much, so I'm going to get him out of the paint pot, mix them up, get the color on, clean my brush real quick, and move through the next few colors with you. I think that is the best way to do this. So I'm going to get a little bit of this out and down. As you can see, I've used a lot of that, and as you can see from that pattern, thinned it out a lot. So yeah, use a lot of this color. So I said I wanted to do that on the chest piece, so we're going to do that right here. This fists, and I don't know, it's like some kind of knot or leaf work maybe. I've done these kind of leaf work things on some of the other ones with like a green on some of my regular Space Marines, but I don't feel like that's the right choice on these models. I feel like these models are meant, what they're wearing and stuff has been elevated to almost mythical levels of importance, so that everything is treated as if it was you know, very, very precious and such, not even more so than regular Space Marine stuff. So the metallics and the golds and all that would be important. Just doing these band straps here that hold these kind of hold the ammunition in there. And the same here. A little bit more of this. Just that little kind of center, almost like I guess would be part of the clip that holds that to the belt, I guess. It's almost what that feels like that is. Like that. That perfect. I like that. And this is a different color, so I'm gonna put this on the bolt pistol right here, on the pistol part. Kind of differentiate it from the stuff around it. It's a Deathwatch bolt pistol, so it's precious. Yes, that works. Alright, now I wanted to put it on this knotted rope structure he's got. Give me some more of this. Not much, just a little. Had too much in there. Okay, we're gonna have to get the happy medium. There we go. That happy medium. Not too much more to go paint with this, but it may seem almost like a loss, but getting the right consistency is important for me. And these are, I don't know if I've said this at the beginning or not, but I never, I hesitate to ever call anything like this that I do a tutorial, because I'm not the greatest at this stuff. I'm just a beginner learner like a lot of people for most of this stuff. Even though I've been beginner learning for a while, I just feel like what I want to do in these videos and this stuff is share with you my journey, and journey with you. You know, you come along and we both learn these things, and I watch other YouTubers as well and learn from them, and other painters, both on and off YouTube, and just learn some of their techniques. I mean, you watch Bob Ross. He's awesome. It's a no mistakes policy. I like that. Look at that. That is turning great. So I'm going to clean this brush off. Usually people do anything. What I have is this little raggie here, and I take my little cleaning mixture that I have, and this is basically what I told you before about the isopropyl alcohol and all that, and then I soak that out, and then I just gently squeeze the brush through there and clean out all the bristles individually, and then give it just a little twist to keep the bristles straight and dry them. And then let it dry a little bit. Alright, next, let me see, I'm looking here. Okay, we're going to want the white in here, and then the yellow. I feel like, yeah, that's black. This is going to be hard. That's going to be a challenge. And then the skull and the parchment, and this purity seal. Oh, and there's good thing there's a red left here, because there's a wax seal I need to get on that purity seal. I'll use that. I usually use Wazdeca red for that, but I can use this for it. It'll work. It'll just require a little bit more. Here's a shootable bone. This is all dried up. I don't know if this is gonna work. I'll shake what's left in here. See if I can get some usable color out of the bottom of this. Let's see, shake it like crazy. Oh yeah, look, we got some out of there. Cool. Alright, I'm going to do a dip in here, the clean part, and then grab the paint, because I don't need a lot of this, so I can get the consistency I'm looking for and not have to drag a lot out. This isn't where we're really using this in a sparse few places, like right here. And this is also another place where the black kind of helps, but you do need to multiple coat over this, because the first coat or so, definitely the first coat, sometimes you can get it second coat, but definitely the first coat, it's too much black showing through, and it does not give you the parchment or skull feeling that you're trying to go for. So you definitely, this is a multi-coat, but you know, fortunately since you're doing thinner coats, it does dry pretty quickly. So you can move on to another area and then come back and get those coats on. Gonna get this parchment done here, and then we're going to go back and attempt to do the skull. And the reason I say attempt is because we have that little copper Inquisition eye that's up there that we're going to attempt to preserve, but we may end up having to repaint that. We have the Balthasar gold. I believe that's what we used. There's still some of that sitting there that hasn't dried, so there may be hope that we can get that going. The parchment on there. Make sure you get all the parchment, the sides and the back and everything. But like I said, this is definitely going to be a multi. I'm going to try to grab some of this and get this paint back into consistency because so little of it, it's actually drying on my board here. But to cover this properly. Alright, this, I don't want to get this mechanical spine. I'm going to need more of this because this is too thin here. There we go. Too thin. It's like water. Don't want water. Want thick milk. Unless you're airbrushing, then you want milk like regular milk consistency. Alright, get the skull. Let's see, get the back of the skull will be pretty easy. See, it's going to be like a double do because you got the first coat, and if we make that, then we're gonna have to come back for the second dry. So it's gonna be gotta get it right twice. Trying to figure out the best way to hold this. And we are gonna have to try to come up with a definition, something to define between the two, the skull and the parchment. Okay, there we go. Okay, need some more paint. Just going through here. There, I think I almost did. Yes. Ooh. Second coat's gonna be. Second coat's gonna have to go on, but I think we made it through the first coat. Just gotta get this area around the antenna, which actually looks like it's gonna be harder than the area around that Inquisition eye. There we go. There it is. Right. So back down to the bottom. The paint. And make sure we have just what we need. And then get another coat on there. And that looks like that's going to do it on there. The second coat. Yep. That is definitely going to do it for this part of it at least. Hopefully we end up just as lucky up top, and then it coats it on the second go round. Alright, just go, you know, in the same order so that you're leaving it as much time as possible to dry, but these thin coats should dry rather quickly. And if there's just a hint of the black, that's perfect actually, because when you gnome oil it up and it gets in the crevices and stuff, it's going to really pop some of that. It's going to make it look more dingy and dank and not new, which is what you're going for. Alright, so I'm going to start in the front here, even though I just said go in the same order, because I just want to make sure if I'm going to get this, salvage this. Oh, right there, thumb, take some of that paint off there. Yep, it's going to be harder to get this antenna area than it is that skull. There we go. But I am going to have to do something to delineate, since I do use, never had a skull holding parchment, so I've never run into that, having to, you know, since I use the same basic color and technique for bone and parchment, never had that issue. Alright, there we go. Looking good so far. You can see how that's needs some delineating right there, but so far so good. Look around, make sure don't need any there's no purity seals or parchment or anything hiding. Yep, it looks good so far. See that I'm gonna have to do a wap-a-dap on where some of this black is rubbed off, where I redid it, those parts that it hadn't covered good. Alright, oh no! Good thing there's nothing in there, right? I'm going to clean this up and hit those black areas and be right back. Alright, I don't know if you can see, but I've got some yellow, white, and some different light grays that I may or may not use. This is the flat yellow from Vallejo, the gray sky from Vallejo, the white from Vallejo model color, and then this gray sky from Americana. It's paints. And this is the gray sky, and then these are the Vallejo colors. We are going for the shoulder pad. I'm going to attempt this. I'm not really good at this detail work. I'm going to brace the model down on the surface here and just try to paint in here. Paint within the lines. Never been my forte. I've never been a paint within the lines kind of person. Always got to paint outside them. So this will take much crazy. That's why I just like Crimson Axis don't even really put shoulder insignia on them. But now with this Deathwatch, oh my goodness, I'm going to have to do that. Everybody's got some shoulder insignia that's got to be copied. If I can get it off the edge, just using my thumb. There we go. And yeah, this is definitely going to have to be gone over. This white over this black for sure. And I haven't thinned these down with a layman's medium, because these colors tend to be really thin as it is with the Vallejo. These, at least these colors specifically. Now I can't say about other colors, because you know you see me thin down some of the other Vallejo colors, so it's really on a color by color basis of what will work and what won't. And it may just be on a bottle by bottle basis too. Sometimes you might just have a bottle that is a lot thicker than another, although I think a lot of these companies do their best for quality control and all that, make sure one is as good as the other. Sorry about that. I'm going to figure out where I lost you, but apparently I had knocked the power cord out to my camera and hadn't noticed it, and it didn't do its usual, or I was just into this and it didn't use it. Either it didn't use it, I'm about to shut off beep, or I was just so into this I didn't notice. But yeah, I was doing this very carefully on this pad, and I'm, you know, my physical limitations, and being that this is not one of my many talents that I've been given, I'm happy with this. And you have to be happy with what you can do, and that's pretty good for me. So I'm happy with that. I'm going to quick clean this brush because that was white, and I'm going into yellow, and that's not a big deal. So just get it in there and get me the right amount of paint, because this is really a thinner consistency on these colors. Like I don't know if I said that and you heard it or not before, but these colors are definitely a thinner consistency than some of the other stuff I've worked with. Yeah, I feel like this is going to take some coatage too, because this is not normally how I get my yellow on with the, you know, doing the airbrush thing. So this is going to be a few coats of yellow over this this thing. Just how it's going to have to be, getting it built up. And this is probably why a lot of people are like, don't do black under their yellow, because this is going to take a bit to get right. I can see it already. Wish I had a thickening agent almost for some of this yellow. That's what I feel like it needs more than this paint needs a thickener, not a thinner. But yeah, get it on there as best I can, smooth. Gonna be the next coat before it starts shaping up. It's very splotchy and thin, and it doesn't really want to cover right now. But that's what happens with this thinner paint like this. But I'm not in any danger of wiping out details, so that is a blessing to me. And Crunk does not have to have friends. Although Crunk gets a lot of play. He's I think he's just, what is he? Some kind of sergeant set up though. Okay, I'm gonna have to let that dry a little bit. So what I think I'm gonna do, I'll let that dry. So I'm actually gonna go ahead and clean out this brush, because that's going to be pretty easy for me to do because the yellow is so thin. And before that red dries up, I'm going to get it onto that top of that purity, the wax seal part of that purity seal. I need just a little bit of this in this paint because it's been sitting here for a bit. Okay, and undo that purity seal real quick like. And that, I'm not too concerned about getting that much, because once you go over that with a Nuln oil, that'll darken it up. So I can even kind of get a little bit more of that less thin down paint, because it's going to go on richer and brighter, and then I'm going to knock that down a little bit with the Nuln oil. A lot of my minis are complete covered with Nuln oil. This one, there's going to be some areas that don't get covered with a Nuln oil on this one. Oh yeah, and we said we were going to do some of these areas back here, so it's good. Get it done, these buttons and all that. Let's pop those with some color. Yeah, that's nice. Okay, clean that up. Still going to let that yellow dry a little bit more, because I'm going to clean up the brush just barely. Not going to clean. Just wipe it good, like my buddy would do. Oh, well, this hasn't been used in a while. There's a big old chunk of something. I think I'm going to go with something other brown. What do we got? We got a flat earth. Let's dump just a drop of this on there. Let's shake it up good. See how dark that ends up being. That's weird looking. It's got yellow in it. Let's shake it up some more. Let's get a dollop. We'll do you. Yeah, I think that mixed up is going to be okay for the scabbard and holster and all that stuff. So just going to hand stir this right here, get that yellowish out of it. There we go. And just knock this out. That will definitely give it a leather-like look. Now a lot of people, they would do dark and then do a couple highlight stages and stuff, and you can do that for sure. Like go over the edging and stuff of this with like a lighter and lighter brown. Just basically take three different tones of the same brown, and you can make them look really, really nice. Not sure what I'm going to do about the handle of the gun. And we said we were going to use some of this on the hand wrapping part of this. There we go. I'll throw that in there. It works. Any place else we needed this? Don't believe so. Don't believe so. Alright, so now we're really going to clean this brush this time and get back on that yellow, because we have now salvaged the red. We're not going to waste it, and we've gotten the brown out of the way. And now normally what I would do is paint a bunch at a time, so paint all the brown on them, paint all the yellow on them, and that would help keep from wasting paint as well. But since I'm just doing this one here with you guys, we're going to do it this way, and it's no problem. There we go. Just get it over there. Yep. I think it's going to need another coat after this for sure, but it is yellowing up nicely, and hopefully I can get it looking really nice in the end for you guys, and then you can say, wow, you can actually paint a little bit. Yeah, but we'll see. Because I, you know, like I said, not my God-given talent, but that's a cool thing about this hobby. You don't have to be like Picasso or something, or well, you can be Picasso painting all those weird paintings, weird marines. But let's say Michelangelo, someone who paints things that you can actually recognize what they are. But you don't have to be like that to paint your minis. You can just get them on there, 3-4 basic colors, and they'll look pretty decent, and you can get them out in the field and enjoy them. Alright, so he's going to need another coat on that for sure. So I'm just going to dry this off in this area that I've already cleaned, so that it doesn't get all hard and crusty, and set this off to the side for a second. And we are going to get my, I think this is dry enough. I'm about to see if this is dry enough. Just, yeah, right there. And you just have to put some squiggly lines on here. You don't actually have to put text unless you're really good at that. But I just use a Faber-Castell Pitt Artist pen. It's just a black permanent marker, and just do squiggly lines on there, and then that's all you have to do. And then I have a really beat up brush. This is just the beatest brush you've probably ever seen. Beat to heck. Beat, beat, beat. And the reason it's kind of pinkish now is the last shade that I used on it was for the Tyranny kind of color, purpley. Trying to find it. This stuff, Carroburg Crimson, the last shade I used on it. This is what I use for shading, because I can kind of just dip it up in this area and then just tap out all the shade. Just get enough on there, you know, not too much. And then I can go up in all the areas and just let it kind of cover down in places. And it really ages the parchment and the skull. The really does age those up a lot. And then stuff like these shoulder pads that will get down in all those crevices and pop all those words out. And then just all over really is what I do with it. So it gets in all the cracks. I'm trying to put it on really light. Try not to get it too heavy so that it's not destroying everything that I've done. But I'm not going to put it on his shoulder pad. I feel like his shoulder pad needs to be bright and clean, and like he's very proud of his chapter and he's taking care of that. There, that kind of darkened him up nice. Alright, so then I'll clean this brush, and nope, let's do another yellow. I can clean this brush in a second, it's fine. It's my beat up brush. It's my beat up shade brush. So let me see if I can get this and just drag some of this thicker stuff out here, but get my brush kind of good. And here we go again, trying to prove exactly why normal painting techniques people do not base their yellow miniatures in black. And I can see what this, because you've got to put these thin layers on with a paintbrush, but an airbrush really does that work for you. Really helps. So when I'm airbrushing my guys, this is like, it is the same number of coats, probably 3, 4, you know. It does get to that level, but each coat is so easy to put on, so quick, and dries so fast that it's almost not a problem when you're doing the whole armor, you know, in an Imperial Fist type way. Not like if you're just doing small chunks of armor like this, then yeah, this becomes a problem. I need another clean brush because that went off of line there. I want to get it out. Get that paint. There we go. Get that off there. Do the best I can to make this clean and pretty. Even though I know it's not going to be 100%. It's going to be the best I can do. Okay, that is that. Now I'm going to go and do some highlights. I'm going to clean up a little bit here, this brush. I'm going to test these grays. I think they're a little too light, so I might mix a little. I don't usually mix too much on paints, but I might throw a little black in there and tone it down. This seems a little too light. I'm going to try it though. Just see it, because I can cover it over with a darker color. Yeah, that's way too light. So I'm going to just put a dollop of black there and bring these two together in some way. An air bubble here. Just tone this black down some. Get a darker gray in here in the middle. More black. Yeah, I like that better. Problem with this is you got to make what you got to use, because you probably never going to get that color back like that again, no matter how hard you try. See, this is a little lighter for there. You can barely tell the difference between it and the other black, just on the edges, just here and there. Actually, a lot of places where paint has worn because of my fingers touching it, because it wasn't quite dry. It's perfect because that's a lot of the edges and stuff, so just going back over a lot of that. There's a skull right up here on his helmet that I missed, but I'm going to leave it this lighter grayish color there. A little bit on his armor spots here. Almost edge highlighting, but not really. Just some of the just a few of them, not like all over every single edge kind of thing. Just like, I guess they say where like light would hit it. Need some more kind of thing, like up here. Just a little bit different color, make things stand out. Alright, then he just needs his base done, and that's pretty much how, about as practically complicated as I get with these minis. You know, just get the one arm silverish, do the details, knock him out, and the pad's not that bad. There's a lot of people who can do a lot better than me, but this is good enough. This is good enough. This will get you on the table, and that's what it's about. Playing the game and enjoying the hobby. Alright guys, if you like this video, please leave me a thumbs up. Comment down in the comment section. I answer those as soon as I can. And let me know how you guys paint, and maybe show me some of your minis. Just, you know, like the Facebook page and upload a picture or two of some stuff that you've painted. Really like to see them. Alright. I will talk to you later.